What is up, YouTube? Gypsoda Nomad here, back with another video. In today's video, I wanted to talk about Uber Eats. I do Uber Eats. Why's my window down? I do Uber Eats pretty much every day, and I've been doing Uber Eats for coming up on 2 years now. So I have a lot of time in the game. I wanted to make this video to give people, give drivers, Uber Eats drivers, and maybe even people who want to do Uber Eats, just kind of give them some helpful tips on how to protect themselves and kind of take as much liability off themselves as they can. Even though you can't control everything, it's just some tips to kind of make the process make the Uber Eats process overall go a lot smoother. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, so tip number one, what you're gonna want to have is a stapler. I broke my stapler, so I don't have a stapler right now, but the reason why you want to have a stapler is sometimes the restaurant will give you some food, like if you go to Five Guys, for example, they give you just like a bag and they just throw the food in there and they just give you the bag just like here. But the stapler is good because you can take the food and you can staple the bag closed. That way the customer gets that peace of mind when they get the bag of food. They're not just handing them a bag of open food. Because think about it, if you were ordering food and you got the bag and it was just open, that would make you kind of uncomfortable. So just to kind of give the customer that peace of mind and for you to look a little bit better, staple the bag, or for me, I always like to tie a bag. If it's a plastic bag, I just tie it up really tight and then give it to the customer that way, because it's just a peace of mind thing for the customers, so they just feel a little better about this food. Because it's always weird when you're trusting somebody with your food, you know what I mean? So tip number 2, have stickers. I actually have some stickers. Yeah, I have some stickers here. So these stickers are for sodas, like say you go to McDonald's or something and you get like a cup. What you're gonna want to do is put a sticker over the little hole where you stick the straw in, just to make the customer feel a little better. These stickers are kind of small, but these were all they had when I bought them. But I always keep these in my car just to make the customer feel a little better about their drink, so they don't think anybody's drinking their drink, even though you could easily just pop the cap off a drink and still drink it. But it's not really, who does that? But yeah, get you some stickers, some bigger stickers preferably, that because the problem that I can see them having is I put this on there and they're so small that they don't, you know what I mean? So get you some stickers to put over the drinks. Let's see. This is a tip for Uber drivers that are gonna be driving at night. Make sure that you always call, the house or the apartment. Especially a house. Make sure you always call when you arrive, because sometimes, and it has happened to me, I'll call them and be like, hey, I'm about to walk up to your house. I always do this, and I'm just being honest, as a black man. Sometimes you're gonna be delivering food in affluent areas or whatever, bougie areas, and there has been times where the police have been called, and not on me personally, but I know other drivers who have had the police called on them, including my dad. He did it one time, and he walked up to the wrong address because the person put the wrong address, so he was knocking on the door and they called the police on him. So people, be careful, make sure you call. And I always say, hi, this is I always say my name, this is me with Uber. I'm outside, I'm about to walk up, I'm just making sure I'm at the right address. And then they'll typically tell me the address, and then a lot of times they'll come up to the door, so it just makes the transaction a little more smooth. It's always better to have somebody walking, have the door open for you when you're walking up to a house, especially at night. It just looks better if there are some neighbors that's kind of watching. So yeah, always make sure you call and just let them know that you arrived to the location. Let's see. Next step is, so sometimes you'll get to a place, sometimes you'll get to an apartment and they won't have any instructions. So they won't have the apartment number, they won't have how to get to the apartment, they won't have anything. Immediately what you're going to want to do is just call them. They have the option to text, but I don't recommend texting because that just takes too long. Because sometimes they might not see the text, or they might not see in time. You're going to want to call them and, let them know that you arrived, but you don't see any instructions. Sometimes they don't put instructions because they want to just come out and meet you. So sometimes they'll let you know that. But every time you have an issue with the customer where there's a lack of communication, or you're a little confused, always call them. I never text because it's just slower, and Uber works better when you use your time better. Like, you want to get in, get the food, and get out. So always call them if you're not sure what's going on. And I think they appreciate that because they want to get their food fast too. So yeah. Next tip. The next tip, and this is a very important tip, keep your car clean. And I say that because sometimes the customer is going to come out to your car and get the food, and I know for me thinking, if I'm ordering food, I don't want to walk up to a car and there's trash all in the car, in the front seat, in the back seat, and there's this car just looks filthy. I wouldn't really want to eat the food, and that's just me. So I'm just going off of how I would feel if I walk up to a dirty car and I'm getting food out of it. Keep your car clean. People will appreciate that, and it's just a better look, and you probably get better results from that. I think every little thing counts. A lot of things you won't think about, but I think cleaning your car is pretty much common sense. But yeah, keep your car clean. This is another tip. Don't worry about tips, ironically. Do not worry about tips. One of my things that I do when I'm doing Uber is I have a certain goal that I'm trying to get to. Like, say I want to make $100 that day, then I'll work until I get $100. So whether or not I get tipped or not doesn't matter, because I already know I'm going to be working until I get to this certain amount of money. It's a certain mindset that you have. When you're somebody who's worried about tips, I find that your service could be a little bad because you're expecting something from people, and you don't ever want to be in a situation where you're expecting anything from people. Because I remember when I first started Uber, I would get upset that people wouldn't tip me, and it would like make me mad for the next person, and I wasn't as nice or I wasn't as friendly. And that's just being honest. Like, sometimes you never get tipped and it just makes you mad, when you first start. But then, as time goes on, I was able to just say, look, well, it doesn't matter if I get tipped or not, because I'm going to be working until I get this certain amount of money anyway. So the thing is, now when I get tips, I honestly am just like, oh, wow, thanks. I don't even check. Like, I don't care about tips because, they're just a bonus for me. So my tip is, don't worry about tips. Just make sure you give your best service anyway. And a lot of times you get tipped for that. So that's another tip. This is a pro tip. Get a small box. This is something that I haven't done, but I've been thinking about doing it. Get a medium-sized box that you can put on the floor in your passenger side seat, like on the floor over there, so that you can put the food in the box. Just like an open box. That way, because sometimes the food leaks. And it's happened to me so many times where I've gotten like Chinese food, and you know how they have a lot of liquid in those big old tall like containers. Sometimes those things aren't all the way closed, so it'll leak on the seats and stuff like that. So get a box, put a towel in it, and put the food in the box. That way, you're always protected, and it can leak in the box and it won't mess up your car. So that's just a pro tip, you know what I mean? So next tip is, if you're somebody who works at night, look for 24-hour restaurants, because 24-hour restaurants are the ones that do Uber Eats, they're always pretty much gonna be busy. So in times where it's really slow, like at night, if you just find you an IHOP or McDonald's, or just any restaurant that's doing 24 hours and that's open 24 hours and they're doing Uber Eats, try to stay around them, because you're gonna be working. They're gonna pretty much be providing you with work for the most of the for the nighttime and for the time being while you're working. So make sure you you figure out which restaurants are going to be 24 hours and just stay in that area, and you'll get some work. That way you're not driving around the city trying to find work. That way you're already in the area where you know the work is. So it's just makes it a little easier. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it for my tips for this video. If you drive for Uber or you have any tips, leave them down below. And yeah, see you guys in the next video. Peace.